Most social service organizations, like those running homeless shelters, behavioral or mental health facilities, refugee resettlement agencies, or otherwise, are very interested in trying to get feedback from the people they serve. Most groups refer to this as lived experience feedback. And most groups are doing something along the lines of including somebody that has had experience in these issues on their boards, or occasionally setting up an entire lived experience board. Well, today I want to talk to you about the accidental bias that can be introduced in this type of process. Now, first, I want to point out any type of lived experience is important to listen to. And the work that's being done on lived experience boards around the country is very important. But there's a few flaws that we've discovered in looking at some of these boards. Take a second and think about your organization and consider, are we falling prey to any of these flaws? And can we fix them? The first and most prominent of these are the type of individuals that are invited to be on these boards. Most of the time, because the provider is trying to set up something that works for them, they tend to invite individuals that are easy to get in contact with. Often those that have emerged from experiencing whatever issue they're experiencing, and maybe in this case homelessness, and are now housed, right? They pick somebody that's easy to know that they'll show up to meetings, that they'll be able to get in contact with them, and they'll be able to have conversations with them that are easy to understand this experience. Now, this is all great. However, think of the bias that's introduced here. By inviting people that the system is working or has worked for, what I'm going to get is a bias that the system we have now is the right one and is the one that works. And while it may have tweaks, and while people may be able to give some good feedback, you miss out on some of the feedback you'll get for those that is clearly not working for. Some of those that are having the hardest times that you need the feedback from the most. This bias is so hard to overcome. It's so hard to even recognize, and it's so accidental. So what's the solution? What's the easiest way to be able to get feedback from people that you wouldn't traditionally ask for feedback from because it's hard? Various groups do things like in-person paper surveys where they go around and just survey everybody. You could even try and send out emails to the people that you work with. Some of those can be really hard with vulnerable groups. Sometimes they don't have access to devices or access to email. The Pulse for Good system actually gives you a very easy and convenient way to gather this type of feedback from those that you might be ignoring currently. The easiest way? Installing a kiosk inside of a facility that runs an anonymous survey. This allows anyone that's in your facility, to be able to give feedback on the experiences they experience while receiving services from you, the service provider. Think about your facilities, your staff, and your services. What would people say if they had complete, easy access to telling you how they felt? What could you learn? What could you improve? How could you help people? This is the goal of Pulse for Good. It's the goal to help you solve this accidental bias and be able to provide a psychologically safe place for people to share how they feel.